Thank you, Madam Mayor. Many of you will remember that at the last meeting I raised the Royal Mail Postal Service delays. At that time, I'd been contacted by 25 people in 18 hours. That was the Wednesday. By the Friday, I'd had 200 contacts. Never had that many on any subject as a councillor in that short space of time before. I became aware that other wards across the district were experiencing similar problems. Wakefield Council recognises the vital role Royal Mail continues to play in connecting families, communities and businesses, and acknowledges the immense pressure on Royal Mail postal workers, especially over the Christmas period. With the majority of the public sending or receiving a parcel via Royal Mail over the festive season, Wakefield Council thanks all our postal workers for the work they did over Christmas, the work they continue to do. Many of us appreciate our posties so much, the familiar faces across our district, and we wouldn't want to be without them. Thus said, Wakefield Council also recognises that Royal Mail has for a number of months now, and I'd go back further than that, I think for the past year, has not been able to provide or guarantee an adequate level of service to so many of our residents and businesses. It's evidenced by the number of contacts many of us are getting as councillors. Residents express concern that failures in Royal Mail service has resulted in missed hospital and other health appointments. I had the case of a cancer patient whose appointment had been cancelled, but she travelled to Leeds not realising it had been cancelled because she hadn't got the letter. It was heartbreaking to hear a story. Medication delays. A lot of my residents have their mail, the medication delivered in the post, but it's not coming on time on a lot of occasions. We've had house purchase delays where there's been a death in the family and the papers haven't arrived in time to sell the house on time. Bank cards are one of the biggest problems. So many people in December contacted me because the bank cards hadn't arrived. They cancelled them and then they did arrive, but they arrived with a PIN number and so on. I'm sure many of you have heard of these issues. I won't read the whole list because it's in the motion, but I want to go on to say residents explain that they have not received mail for weeks at a time. An 80-year-old lady told me on Monday that she'd had 39 items of mail arrive in one day. I'd already listed a case in the motion of another person getting 39 items at once. It's ridiculous. We recognise the failures by Royal Mail are not acceptable and that the service offered to customers must improve. So what I want to do is to move on the suggestions. So I'm particularly concerned because not only are the hospital appointments, as an example, aren't getting to residents on time, but letters sent out by GP services, when I've spoken to the GP practices, they don't know how long these appointments are taking to arrive. So that explains the first call on the motion. So Wakefield Council calls for Royal Mail to provide accurate and realistic information to its service users regarding its delivery time periods, so that they can make informed decisions on whether to use the service or choose an alternative provider. For example, the Council suggests that GPs and hospitals using postal services in which Royal Mail have any involvement are made aware of this and given accurate expected dates of the delivery.
You've got 30 seconds left.
Right. So we also resolve to engage with local frontline postal workers and union representatives to better understand the challenges they're facing, to write to Royal Mail to ask for more information on how these issues will be addressed, and to write to the government to immediately engage with the EP group to ensure they uphold the full terms of the deed of undertakings agreed between the two parties. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
This is a really important motion because we have residents, as Councillor Medford's just said, around this district who are being let down, who are missing important letters, who are missing appointments, who aren't getting birthday cards, and it's having an impact in my community. I'm sure it's having an impact in wards across this district. I've had many horror stories, I'm not going to go into them, but of people in those situations sometimes not getting letters for a month. I've written to Royal Mail, I know colleagues have. The response has been underwhelming. Christmas pressures were blamed. We were told plans are in place to fix it, but without any specifics. And I think for me, that's what this motion is about. As local representatives, we need confidence and information that this is going to be put right, how it's going to be put right. Furthermore, we need to write to the government to make them aware of this, to make sure they're enforcing the obligations of EP Group, as Councillor Medford has alluded to. But also, the third aspect of our motion is about engaging with the Royal Mail workforce, because I think we should all be clear in this chamber that our local posties do a fantastic job. This is in no way a criticism of them. They are not to blame. It's about the management and the processes, and we need to make sure that's right, and also hear from the workers firsthand on what they think the problems are and if we can do anything to put them right. And I know Councillor Haslam, if he was here, would probably highlight the work his union have been doing and other colleagues have been doing. It's also about making sure that other carriers, not just Royal Mail, that are using the universal postal network, be it Amazon, some of the big delivery companies, that they are brought into sector-wide bargaining so that it's not a race to the bottom and that Royal Mail isn't outcompeted by them in that sense. So I think there's lots of good things to support in this motion. It's an important resolution, and what I would suggest and offer to colleagues around the chamber is that the controlling group are prepared to move progress on our motions to make sure that every motion can be presented to Council. I'll second it there, Madam Mayor.